All right, all right.
So, I feel selfish here. These are three of my most favorite people, and I'm grateful that they're here. I want to start with President Osmani. And a lot of you who live in New York know this, but the largest number of Albanians and Kosovars in the world outside their native land are in New York. I have 2 Osmanis on my street. And my life has been sort of connected to theirs since I was president. And I'm very, very proud of you and your people. You were so young when you were elected, and you have managed to accelerate economic growth, and I think, excuse me, increase your security. But the theme of this conference is what's next. And you're a walking embodiment of good news. If you do the right thing and you give people a chance to have their lives and make the most of their lives, most people are good people and they will make the most of it. The Kosovars certainly have. So, tell us what's next.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon, everyone. So good to be back at CGI and in this incredible panel. That is not an easy question for a politician, because when we say something, then we have to keep our promises. At least we're the kinds that keep their promises. However, as you rightly pointed out, Mr. President, Kosovo is such an amazing success story. But it's not ours alone, it's yours too, and it's the success story of so many allies and friends around the world. As I oftentimes mention, and I think it's worth mentioning nowadays when the world is facing so many horrible wars and conflicts, and so many people are suffering, losing their lives, and so much destruction, that the case of Kosovo has shown, and it's such a great embodiment of what freedom-loving nations around the world can achieve when they don't turn a blind eye. They don't turn a blind eye on a people oppressed that is simply trying to live their God-given right to be free, to live in freedom, and to have their basic human rights respected. And I grew up, like everyone else in my generation, and all the kids of Kosovo, initially in an apartheid-like regime that escalated to a genocidal war because of the butcher of the Balkans at that time, Slobodan Milosevic. And to grow up as a child of war, of course, is the most horrendous thing to anyone. However, when you experience something like that, and for the people of Kosovo to experience something like that, it has meant that after the war, after we became free because of our liberation struggle and your support, Mr. President, and the support of the American people and American leadership, we never, ever take our freedom for granted. Never. So I believe the fundamental has been to not take our freedoms for granted. And today, a little over 2 decades after we became free, and less than 2 decades after we became independent, Kosovo, according to the latest reports, is the #1 safest country in Europe. #1 safest. We're #3 in the world, according to Gallup International Rule of Law and Index, #1 in Europe, and the 3rd in the world in terms of safety and security. And safety and security, and focusing so much on that, has also brought economic growth. It has brought FDI, it has brought opportunities within the country. It has brought interest, but at the same time, it has positioned Kosovo as a reliable ally and partner to other countries in the world, because now we give back. Now we partner with countries, with the United States and other countries in Europe and elsewhere in other continents to help those in need. Our soldiers serve shoulder to shoulder with US soldiers in peacekeeping missions around the world. We try to help, we try to share our experience. Our survivors of sexual violence during the war are now traveling the world to support survivors in Ukraine, in Sudan, in the Middle East, in other countries. So we're trying to give back while at the same time being very much aware that, again, freedom, even today, 26 years after the war, should not be taken for granted, because look at Ukraine. For 400 years they had to undergo occupation after occupation, and now they need to regain their freedom once again. So we want to make sure, and that takes me to what's next. Our biggest bet is on our people. That has always been Kosovo's greatest strength. We have the youngest population in Europe, tech-savvy, multilingual, brilliant. They have been taking Kosovo forward. We're the country with the highest IT competitiveness rate, and that is what is driving our economy, and I think that's going to continue to be the driving force behind our economy. But the challenge, Mr. President, as you know too well, is maintaining peace, not just achieving it, maintaining it. We still have a threat in our northern border because Russia's craziness goes well beyond the territories around it and the countries around it. They constantly want to threat different parts of Europe, including the Western Balkans. And this triangle of evil that I call, with Russia, China, and Iran, trying to push forward their malign influence, whether through military, through economy, or through crazy ideology, are trying to undo everything that we've achieved together. We need to make sure that the same way that we've stopped them so far, we'll continue to stop them from now on. So maintaining peace is a precondition to our continued success. When you have peace, there's a chance for you to thrive. There's a chance for you to succeed, whether in economy, in education, in health, internationally, everywhere. But when you don't have that, there's simply a lost chance for success for any country, every society elsewhere. And my final point, another reason why Kosovo has been a success story, it's women. Women have been at the forefront. At the forefront of our peaceful resistance initially, then our armed resistance, our armed struggle, and then ultimately in the peacemaking and the peacekeeping, as well as the state-building process, where women are included and are part of the decision-making table. Peace always comes faster and it lasts longer. And that has been the story of Kosovo.
Thank you. You know, I'm highly prejudiced in this matter because of my early involvement with them, but it is true that I have two Kosovo families on the street where Hillary and I live, and our county, I think, has the highest percentage of Albanians from Albania proper and from Kosovo of any state in America. So I'm always getting the latest news. But the thing I want all of you to know is there's something wrong when people have to leave their homeland to have normal lives. And in our little town with 3,400 people, all the last 4 restaurants have belonged to Albanians. And we have a taco place where most of the employees are Mexicans or Guatemalans. But the owner is a Kosovo Albanian. But here's the interesting thing. The manager, the woman who gives me a beer every time I walk in, is a Serb.
Wow.
And when I was in there after we just opened the 2 latest restaurants, the woman asked me if I'd been to the new restaurants. I said, yeah, I've been to the one down the street, but I haven't been up the hill yet. And she said,
Not very clear.
Not clear.
an Orthodox Christian Serbian said, well, you know,
We need to have some.
this restaurant up the hill belongs to a Muslim. And he is a wonderful man. And you should go. Now, why do we all have to leave home to learn those lessons? And how can we make it safe at home? So I want to thank you.